Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there lived a miller who, along with his wife, led a comfortable and happy life. This well-to-do miller's wealth grew exponentially with each passing day. However, despite his prosperity, the miller was deeply saddened by the fact that he had become penniless. One day, early in the morning, he decided to take a walk towards the mill to clear his mind. As the sun cast its beautiful rays upon the earth, the miller approached the water. Suddenly he heard a rustling sound in the water. When the miller looked up, he saw a shiny and beautiful woman emerging slowly from the waters. Realizing that she was a water fairy, the miller was initially scared, but soon overcame his hesitation. In a sweet voice, the fairy asked the miller why he was so sad. The miller, now composed, explained how he used to be rich, but had now fallen on hard times. The fairy, sympathizing with him, offered a solution. She could make him even wealthier than before, but in return, he had to promise something. The miller agreed, saying, "If there's anything I can do, I accept." The fairy then stated her condition. The miller had to promise to give her the first living being born in his house. The miller, thinking it would be an animal born from his livestock, readily agreed to the deal. The fairy disappeared into the water, and the miller returned home happily. When he opened the gate, his servants rushed towards him, joyfully announcing the birth of a baby boy. However, the miller's joy quickly turned to despair, as he remembered the promise he had made to the water fairy. He reluctantly explained the situation to his wife, and they both wondered how they would cope with the newfound wealth after losing their child. The miller, determined to fulfill his promise, became successful in every endeavor he pursued. However, the wealth couldn't fill the void left by the loss of their son. Over time, the miller, now a skilled hunter, settled in a village and married a beautiful girl. They led a peaceful and happy life. One day, while hunting in the forest, the hunter followed a deer to the edge of a stream. There, he encountered the water fairy again. Remembering the promise, the fairy pulled him into the water. Concerned about her husband's disappearance, the hunter's wife sought help from relatives, but they couldn't find him. From that day on, whenever the hunter crossed a stream, he would encounter the water fairy, reminding him of his promise. He never allowed his son to go near the waiter, fearing the fulfillment of the pact. Years passed, and the hunter's son grew up to be a skilled young man trained by a master hunter. He married a girl from the village, and they lived happily. One day, while hunting, the young man tracked a deer to the water's edge and successfully caught it. Unbeknownst to him, the water fairy emerged, smiling, and pulled him into the water. Worried about her husband, the young man's wife sought help from relatives. Eventually, she dreamt of a wise old woman who instructed her on how to bring her husband back. Following the guidance, she played a beautiful and melancholic song on a golden flute and placed it by the water, waiting patiently. A wave emerged, taking the flute into the water. After a while, the hunter's body began to surface, and the couple was reunited. However, their joy was short-lived as massive waves engulfed them, transforming the wife into a turtle and the husband into a frog. Separated by vast mountains and deep valleys, the couple continued their lives in different forms, she as a turtle and he as a frog. One evening, as the hunter played a poignant melody on his flute, his wife, now a turtle, began to weep. Touched by the familiar tune, the hunter approached her, calling her by name. Recognizing her husband, the turtle embraced him, and they lived happily ever after in their new forms, finding solace in each other's company. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more fairy tales.